Welcome into room 442. Happy Friday. We have some juicy Premier League fixtures this weekend, and we break them all down in fast money football. But first, Martin Ødegaard, we take a look into the spectacular season he has had as we preview the Manchester United and Arsenal match. And later, we have some reactions to some interesting videos we found online this week. It's room 442. With the captain's armband, 8 league goals, and 5 assists, it's no exaggeration to say that Martin Ødegaard is the heart of Arsenal's current success in the Premiership. But it's been a long road back to the top for the Norwegian, who almost became yet another wonder kid who couldn't live up to the hype. Already training with the local pro side at 13 years old, Ødegaard made his debut at both national and international level before his 16th birthday. Those performances attracted the attention of elite clubs around the world. The Norwegian was invited to train with the likes of Manchester United, Liverpool, and Bayern Munich. But with the world at his feet, Ødegaard opted for a move to the Bernabeu, becoming the youngest ever debutant in Real Madrid history. It didn't work out with those Boncos though, and the Norwegian starlet went from wonder kid to wander kid, shipped out on a series of unsuccessful loan moves over the next 5 seasons. But all that changed when Ødegaard arrived at Arsenal in the January transfer window last year. The playmaker did enough to earn a 4-year contract with the club, and now he's finally justifying the hype and living up to his potential. No midfielder in the league has been involved in more goals this season. And with Arsenal top of the table, Ødegaard is also top scorer at the club. So as the Gunners prepare to face Man U on Sunday, is Martin Ødegaard the best player in the Premier League right now? And if Arsenal can avenge their only defeat of the season against the Red Devils, is Ødegaard almost certain of a Premier League title as well? That's right, Martin Ødegaard is Arsenal's top scorer as of right now. Albert Vartanian and Mikey Singh join me on the couches. Guys, how good of a season has Martin Ødegaard had?
You could make the argument right now that he could be the best player in the Premier League this season, at least the most important player in the Premier League this season. When he's in this Arsenal side, he has everything clicking. The play always circles around him. He always seems to find this space, and he's been the type of player that Arsenal have needed for a very long time. He is becoming the face, I think, of this Arsenal team, and he's getting the best out of guys like Saka, and Martinelli. When Jesus was healthy, he was linking up really well with him. He's unbelievable. He really is.
Even if you don't want to consider him the best player in the Premier League, he's the best player on Arsenal by far. And you're right, they haven't had a player like that probably since
Cesc Fabregas, right?
Ozil? Santi Cazorla, similar type of player, right?
Alexis Sanchez.
He's so important to that team. Like, we had this discussion before on red card, yellow card. You brought it up. Would Arsenal be a top 4 team without him? I said no. I know that's a bit of a stretch because they're a really good team.
I agree with you,
but
though.
that's just how important he is to that team, right? He is the core. He is the playmaker. Without him, it doesn't tick going forward.
No kidding. And when I think about, players of the Premier League this season, who's the best? I'm sure maybe Marcus Rashford might come to mind. Is he right now more important to Manchester United than Ødegaard is to Arsenal?
I can't say that he is, because Manchester United do have other options to put on the wing, whether that be a Martial when he's healthy. Garnacho has really stepped up. Jadon Sancho is still lurking in the wings. Obviously, you have Antony. So there are other players, very, very good players who can step up if Marcus Rashford isn't in the side. Obviously, Rashford, what he's doing is incredible, and he's honestly setting new records, it feels like, every time he takes the pitch. However, when you look at Arsenal's team, if you take Martin Ødegaard out of there, who's stepping up to replace that number 10
in that position
for Arsenal? It's Emile Smith-Rowe, but the quality drop-off is just so significant. I think Ødegaard is more important to Arsenal than Rashford is to Manchester United.
I mean, based on current form, Rashford is right there as one of the best players in the Premier League. If you look at United, where are the goals really coming from? It's him, right? It's all through him. It's hard right now to name one player who the best player in the Premier League is, because there's so many players who are important to their teams. I mean, I always go back to Erling Haaland. I know we're going to get to that, but I mean, he has 22 goals this season. The past 7 seasons, he would have won the Golden Boot already. I know he has a little bit of a slump this post-World Cup, but you can't dismiss what he's done.
So do you think, he is the best player in
If
the
I had to
Prem
pick one
right
between
now?
the three, I'd still go with Haaland. I mean, goals are king. You pay for goals, and that's exactly what you need to win games. And, City, they're going to have to make a serious run to catch Arsenal, and he's probably going to be the leader of that for them.
Right. Is there anyone that you guys can think of besides these three that you think might have a running for the best player in the Prem right now? I mean, things can obviously change. We're just past the halfway point.
Right.
I gave a shout out yesterday on the show to Riyad Mahrez.
He's tremendous.
Unbelievable.
And he's not a guy who starts
player.
every single week either.
Yeah,
but he shows up when he plays.
Just how good Manchester
Casemiro,
City is.
Casemiro gets a shout.
Casemiro's been really good for Manchester United this season. Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
I knew Bruno was coming.
Bruno
I was
Fernandes,
waiting
I mean,
for it.
I think me and Albert have this debate all the time. Who is Manchester United's most important player? He, Tottenham Spurs fan, obviously says Christian Eriksen.
I love Christian Eriksen, yeah.
But there's no way. It is week in, week out, Bruno Fernandes. He sets a tempo for this team. He's their captain. He is their leader, and he has the quality as well. When he's not in Manchester United's side, I actually don't think he is replaceable.
Yeah, I can give a couple of shout outs to some other players. I mean, Mitrovic has been fantastic.
Yeah, what a season.
For Fulham, Ivan Toney for Brentford. Those two players are one of the primary reasons why those two teams are in European or fighting for European positions at the moment. There's been a lot of players across the board, but if you're looking at the top of the pack, it's Haaland, it's Rashford, and it's Ødegaard.
Nobody's saying any defenders here.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Mee gets a shout for Brentford, I think, as well. I mean, Varane, he's been almost perfect, right?
Varane, yeah.
For United.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good players in the Premier League right now. This is why it's so exciting, right? Because it's not just Manchester City running away with it. A lot of teams have a lot of good players, and it's not just the top six anymore. It's not just them.
Well, let's look at the game that Arsenal will be playing this weekend. Manchester United, and last time around, Manchester United came away with the W 3-1, which was Arsenal's only loss of the season. Now they're going to Emirates to play the next match. Arsenal are 8 points clear of United. One big player that won't be in this match, Mikey, is Casemiro, suspended. How important has this guy been for this team, and what kind of loss is Manchester United going to be feeling without him there?
It's incredible just how big of a loss it'll be. We were just talking about it. Casemiro could be one of the best players in the Premier League this season. When you look at the numbers of when Casemiro starts for Manchester United as opposed to when he doesn't, it's very obvious. They concede a lot more goals. They score a lot less. Since he's come into the team, he ranks first in tackles. He ranks first or second in passes completed, first in presses. And he's just so good at connecting everything that this Manchester United team needed. That being said, Erik ten Hag is very vocal about this. Last time Manchester United and Arsenal played, they did it without Casemiro. So they have shown that they have the capability to go out and do it.
Big number 7 on the pitch too, but
I will also say this though. Casemiro was not on the pitch, but for Arsenal, Thomas Partey didn't play.
Yeah,
that's
Thomas
very true.
Partey, every game that he's played in the Premier League for Arsenal, they haven't lost. That's how important he is.
Yeah.
They had Lokonga in there last time. This is a different Arsenal team, and I think you want to talk about most important players. I think Partey goes right beside Ødegaard. And I understand what Ten Hag's saying, and you have to say it. You want to give your team a boost. They're going to make it a difficult game for Arsenal. I would say this could be one of the most difficult games for Arsenal this season so far. But with that said, I think having Partey in there is a big-time game changer compared to having, Albert Sambi, Lokonga.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the marquee matchup, I think, of the Prem this season right now because both teams are doing so well.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm going to ask you really quick. Your predictions, Mikey. What are you expecting?
Let's hear it, Mike.
So I'm not going to do a score prediction because I honestly don't know what to expect. But how about this for prediction? This is circling around social media right now. With Casemiro not being eligible to start, Erik ten Hag is going to start Lisandro Martinez as the holding midfielder for Manchester United and have Luke Shaw slot into center back as he has been.
I think it'll be like a Christian Eriksen, McTominay, maybe double pivot, but who knows? I'm going to go Arsenal. I don't want them to win, whatever. I've been vocal about that. They're a fantastic team, though. 2-1 Arsenal at the Emirates.
I'm honestly on the same page. I wasn't going to pick a score,
Arsenal,
but Arsenal, but both teams to score. I know Manchester United will find the back of the net, but Arsenal are going to want to win this game after losing that one last time at home. They're so informed. They're not missing anyone. Yeah, I think I have to go Arsenal, but let's see, guys, coming up next, Fast Money Football, where we will talk more Arsenal and United, but all of the Premier League matches of the weekend. We'll be right back. Welcome back into room 442. It's time for Fast Money Football, where we give you guys a pick for all of the Premier League games. But we're changing it this time. Mikey and Albert join me on the couch. We are going to do it chat version, but within 5 minutes. 10 games this weekend, allocates 30 seconds per game. So really quick, hence Fast Money Football.
Almost.
Can I have a 5-minute clock, please? All right, guys, it's starting. Mikey, you're up first. Liverpool and Chelsea, and you have the new signing, Mikael Mudryk, to score.
Yeah,
What a
so
show, Mike.
I expect him to be starting in this game. Chelsea desperately needs some reinforcements up top. And listen, I watched this guy's highlight pack.
Oh.
Absolute baller. He's going to get one plus 260 right now. Hop on that before his value goes down. Also, Liverpool's back line leaking, conceding goals right now without Virgil van Dijk.
All right, I
It's
will.
the injury classico, between those two teams?
It's
My God.
exciting. Albert, you have Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, and you're going Forest draw no bet.
Yeah, listen, I love the look of Forest right now. Since the World Cup break, Steve Cooper has changed the way they've played. They're more compact and organized, and I think he's realized, listen, we have to play this way, not this open, expansive style, so we're going to go down. With Bournemouth, they haven't won. They've lost every single game since the World Cup break. They're a disaster. I know they're at home, but under the new manager, it's just not clicking. So I'm going to go with Forest, but I don't trust them straight up on the money line. Instead, draw no bet.
All right, I got Leicester and Brighton. Brighton is plus money, and I'm taking that. Leicester have been miserable this season. They've not won a game since November 12th, and they've only won 2 games at King Power, which is where this game is being held. So that doesn't faze me at all. Brighton plus money, easy. Up next, Mikey, you got Southampton and Villa, and you're taking Southampton.
Southampton is in form right now.
James Ward-Prowse is in form.
James Ward-Prowse is in form. And yeah, Southampton coming in at this game at St. Mary's at plus money. They've won their last 3 matches, including games against Manchester City, against Fulham, Crystal Palace. They're a team that's balling right now. They're coming off a win against Everton and against a Villa side that away from home have not been very great this season. And I know Unai Emery has got this team back on track a little bit, but I think away from home, Southampton's got this one.
All right, Albert, up next, West Ham and Everton, and you're taking West Ham and over 1.5 goals.
Yeah, and how about Danny Ings moving from Aston Villa to West Ham? The first player, by the way, who's going to represent Burnley, West Ham, and Aston Villa in the Premier League, claret in blue. What did I have there again? West Ham and over 1.5?
Yeah.
I don't trust either of these teams, but this game is massive when it comes down to the relegation scrap 6-pointer. You can really put it down to that. And I think the first goal is going to be crucial, and I think home advantage is going to be crucial for West Ham. If you look at Everton's away record, it's like that's one of the reasons why they're in the position that they're in. That's one of the reasons why they were in that position last season. They can't score goals and they can't win games. West Ham, too good. I think Danny Ings will make an appearance. I'm going to go West Ham over 1.5 goals.
All righty, I got Crystal Palace and Newcastle, and I'm backing Newcastle plus the under here. No Guimarães, no problem. Crystal Palace haven't been great this season, and Newcastle are fighting for a spot in the top 4, maybe even a title. They also have the best defensive record in the Prem, so that's why I'm going with the under here, but I think Newcastle will get the W, so stick with them. Mikey, you have Leeds and Brentford, and you're taking Brentford.
Yeah, I don't think enough people are talking about this Brentford team right now. Brentford is on fire, fantastic form. They haven't lost a game since the new year, and they're unbeaten in their last 5 matches, 4 of those being victories. I think they're in a position not only to make some ground up here, but also put themselves in the conversation and potentially be a top 4 team in the Premier League.
Wow.
They're just right behind Albert's Tottenham Hotspur. So yes, I like Brentford at Ellen Road.
I love that. Albert, City, Wolves, City to win to 0.
Yeah, good luck trying to find some value in this matchup, really. But I went with City to win to 0 for the sole reason that I just don't trust Wolves. And City at the moment, I think after that comeback against Spurs, they're going to go on a serious run. And in this fixture, they have a tremendous record. Wolves have a difficult time going to the Etihad and beating Manchester City. And now they face a Man City with arrested Phil Foden, arrested Kevin De Bruyne, and a hungry team that knows they got to chase down Arsenal to win the league. I think they shut it down, win to 0, Manchester City.
I like that, actually, just because, Wolves have scored the least amount of goals in the Premier League
They
this
struggle,
season
even
by
under
far.
Lopetegui. They have good attackers, and we talk about Podence all the time, but they can't put it together going forward.
No, they don't look promising at all. I have Manchester United and Arsenal, and I've said it before, but I'm saying it again. I'm taking Arsenal, but both teams to score here. United have been really great as of late, and they're scoring in every single match, but Arsenal are going to want to get this W. They are fighting for the title. They want to keep that lead, and something about this team tells me they're going to get the W on Sunday. Last up, Mikey, Fulham and Tottenham, and Albert, he's taken Fulham.
I don't blame him.
Do I have to really explain this one? It's at Craven Cottage. Tottenham, we saw what just happened against Manchester City. They're buckling, they're folding by the knees right now. And Fulham, they're balling out. So Fulham at home at plus money. Give me that all day.
There you go, guys. 5 minutes, fast money football, all the Premier League matches. We got you covered. Up next, we react to some viral videos. We'll be right back. Welcome back into room 442. Albert, Mikey, Sarah, and it's Friday. We want to have a little fun. We're going to look at some viral videos that we found and react to them. Up first, a fan invading the pitch to see his idol, Casemiro, in the Manchester United and Crystal Palace match. Roll it.
So I think we need some context here. So for those that were watching the Manchester United Crystal Palace game,
Oh my God.
this happened in the middle of the game, and usually what happens during these scenes is the camera typically pans away from the fan, right? They don't want to promote this, but for whatever reason, the camera guy was sleeping, and we saw this.
Yeah, you stayed locked on
We
them.
saw this play out, right, while we're watching it. The good news is that he didn't do it during the middle of play where the play had to be halted. He actually did it during a stoppage. There might have been a substitution or an injury that was happening. And to be honest, he was very respectful about it. He went up, said hi to Casemiro as he saw in the video, and then just peacefully went his way. But just to actually see, we all saw the phone too, so just to actually see this footage now, close up, is absolutely, it's hilarious. And what about Casemiro, man?
That's the first time I watched that video. That's hilarious. Casemiro's face.
He's a respectful pitch invader. Is that what you're saying?
I gotta give him credit for
I
it.
can't believe how calm Casemiro.
Casemiro, the little smile he tried to
You
give.
don't know if the guy's coming on the field with something, a weapon, right?
Yeah.
No, but also, I mean, it must be like so frustrating for players. You know, they're in the middle of a massive match, and even though there was stoppage time, now he's like, okay, let me get in this photo.
So what would you guys do, Albert? What would you do if a fan, you're put yourself in Casemiro's shoes? I know it's a little bit tough,
Right.
But men's league, let's say you're there and you see a fan sort of coming on
Oh,
the pitch.
my
with
men's
his
league?
phone,
I'll just take the selfie. No, you got to put an arm out, like, hey, take it easy, you know? I get some of the players that, put the arm around them.
You want to throw an elbow?
You just never know, dude. What if this guy's coming on the pitch? What if he's an Arsenal fan? Or if he's a City fan?
It was
like, I
at
hate this guy.
at Crystal Palace too, so it was away too.
Yeah.
You never know.
So
Credit to Casemiro for keeping it cool.
No, of course. But what do you guys think about pitch invasion in general? Like,
Yes,
does it bother you? Do you think it's funny?
I like the pitch invasion at the end of the season for a massive game. I understand that. Like City, like Aguero, right? Aguero, like that. I understand them doing that. But lastly, we saw it all the time.
Yeah.
We saw it in quarterfinals, semifinals, of regular Premier League matches.
Just people coming out of a pandemic, man.
That's a really good point.
They just
Actually,
wanted
that's
to
a good
have
point.
fun. But I have to say, man, Casemiro, what I've noticed from him, he seems like he has this reputation of just being a destroyer and brutal in the middle of the park. He is one of the nicest guys, I think, in the Premier League. He always has a smile on his face. He's very respectable. He seems like all of his teammates really love and appreciate him. And he just has that face that, it's
pretty
very
calm dude.
Yeah, I mean, great reaction. That was lovely to see. Let's look at another clip that we found. Arsenal has a new face. Let's check it out.
Arsenal have signed Leandro Trossard. Now, quite interesting, a week ago we reported that Arsenal's North London rivals Tottenham were keen on him. Our understanding was a bid was turned down and Tottenham's interest was removed, and Arsenal have stepped in after the disappointment of losing out to Mikhailo Mudryk to Chelsea, and they've signed Leandro Trossard.
The other reason you guys picked that pick is The Tottenham thing, right?
Yeah, that was Mikey's
Only
doing.
reason I had that in there was for the Tottenham reference.
Right.
And I just wanted to get your thoughts on Trossard.
Yeah, no,
From
I'm a big
North
Trossard
Rivals.
fan. I think he's an excellent player. Obviously, for Spurs, I mean, you'd like to get him, but that's not a priority position they need to fill. For Arsenal, it's great. It gives him some depth. He can probably play on that Martinelli side, and he gives him something different, right? He doesn't have tremendous pace, but he's a good dribbler. He can play make. I know, Martin Ødegaard's pretty much the key playmaker in that system, but Trossard can play in between the lines and play in like a false nine type of role. So it's a good signing. But with that said, Brighton players, when they move from Brighton, haven't been that great, really, recently. If you look at Mark Cucurella at Chelsea, bit of a bust, right? Look at Neil Maupay, bit of a bust. Yves Bissouma, bit of a bust, right? I'm not saying Trossard's going to be that, but I wouldn't be so sure he's going to light the world on fire at Arsenal.
No, but I think it's a great signing for Arsenal just in the sense of what he brings as almost a veteran in the game. Arsenal's team is so young. Him having a bit of, couple years on these guys, I think he'll bring that experience, and they don't have a player like him.
Having Premier League experience
That's
is
it.
huge, right?
That's exactly it, right? So I think this is great. I don't know, Mikey.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I actually think it's an unbelievable signing. The reason being is Arsenal have their starting 11 figured out, right? And he's the type of quality of player that he's a good starter on a middle-of-the-pack team, but on a top-tier team, he's the guy you want coming off the bench. So you add depth behind now Saka and Martinelli. We're just talking about who replaces Ødegaard, who replaces Martinelli and Saka on that team. Now you have a guy in Trossard who's proven in the Premier League and can absolutely tear this league up, I think, coming off the bench at times for Arsenal. So he's going to be a good
Yeah,
signing.
he's got goals in him too,
Yeah.
right?
Well, maybe we'll see him make an appearance on Sunday.
Oh,
Who
possibly, yeah.
knows? But that is it for us today, guys. We'll be back on Monday to break down all of the Premier League drama that I'm sure will unfold. Thanks for watching.